So this evening is going to be all about balancing energy within our body. So there's a bit of stuff on the floor. So we're going to start seated today. There's some stuff going through balances and opening up the heart and the throat, and then finally a relaxation at the end. So all sorts of different bits and pieces to keep you occupied this evening. As always, you are your own teacher in these strange online environments. So if something doesn't feel good, don't do it. If you need to rest, then rest. If you need to modify, then feel free to modify. I certainly do when I'm doing some online yoga. So feel free to do what works best for your anatomy. And if you're dealing with any injuries, then obviously work around those too. So we'll start, I'll go back onto my mat. We're going to start sat down, cross-legged if you can. If cross-legged is really uncomfortable, bring one heel in front of the pelvis and then put the other leg in front of it. So that's another option. Equally, if you're really, really tight in your back, then sit on a cushion or sit on a couple of blocks just to give you a bit of space. And we'll start with some breathing today. So we're going to start with our fingertips on our shoulders and our elbows nice and high. As we inhale, we're going to stretch our hands up and bring our knees up as well. And as we exhale, drop the hands back to the shoulders and drop the knees down. So inhaling up, raising the knees, raising the hands. Exhale, push everything down. Inhale up, exhale down. Inhale those knees up, exhale, press them down. Good. Inhale up, exhale. Good. And then bring the hands back down to the knees. If you need to adjust your seat, then feel free to adjust your seat. Hands on the knees this time. Inhaling, stretching the chest forward, coming into cow. Exhaling, really curving through the spine, pulling the belly in, dropping the head into cat. So seated cat-cow. Inhaling as we come forwards, really stretching the chest. Exhale as you go back, arching through the spine, pulling the belly in, drop the head. Inhale forwards. Exhale back. Inhale, come forwards. And then exhale, go back. Inhale, come forwards. Exhale back. Last one. Inhale forwards. Exhale back. And coming into neutral, we'll circle through the hips on this one. Sorry, the ribs. Those aren't hips. The ribs. Oh no, this evening might be another evening where I get all my body parts mixed up. So this time we're going to inhale the ribs as we circle them forward and exhale as we circle them back. Inhale as we circle them forwards. Exhale, circle them back. Inhale, circle them forwards. Exhale, circle them back. Then take it in the other direction. Inhale forwards. Exhale back. Inhale forwards. Exhale back. Inhale forwards. Exhale back. Excellent. And coming back to neutral, bringing our hands back to our shoulders again, keeping those elbows high. Take a nice big inhale at center. Exhale, twist to the left. Inhale back through center. Exhale, twist to the right. Inhale through center. Exhale left. Inhale center. Exhale right. One more each side. Inhale center. Exhale left. Inhale center. Exhale right. Coming back to the center, bringing the hands in front of the face. So your hands are going to be at eye level for this one. So as the hands come together, really focus on the fingers in front of your eyes. Inhale, really open and expand through the chest. And then exhale, bring the hands back in front of you, in front of your eyes. Inhale, really open, expand the chest. Exhale, bring the hands back together in front of your eyes. Inhale to open. Exhale, close. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Good. This next one's all about the throat. So I'm going to go sideways to show you this one. We have our hands underneath the chin with the elbows straight out. Inhale the elbows up as high as you can. Then exhale as you look up and bring the elbows in front of you. So we're bringing the elbows high, making sure you've still got a bit of length in the back of the neck so you're not crunching the neck back. Inhale, bring the head back to parallel and inhale up those elbows. Then exhale the elbows forward, looking up. Inhale, level the head. Inhale those elbows up. Exhale, bringing those elbows together. Inhale as you take the elbows back and up, level the head. And then exhale, elbows together, look up. 2 more. Inhaling, level the head, raise the elbows. Exhale, look up, squeeze the elbows together. Inhale, level the head, elbows up. Exhale, head back, look up, elbows together. Bring the head back to center, hands back to heart center. So last breathing exercise for this warm-up. So we'll inhale the hands straight up through the center line, really reaching up through the fingers. And then exhale, really opening out to the side in a big circle. Inhale, take those hands straight back up the middle line, all the way up above the head, stretch through the fingers. Exhale, big circle down to the sides. Inhale, up through the middle line. Really stretching up through those fingers, feeling the ribs expand. Exhale, come down to the sides. Inhale, going up through the middle line, really expanding the belly, the ribs, the chest. Exhale, big circle down to the sides. Inhale, up through the center, really expanding and lengthening the breath. And then exhale, down to the sides. This one is going to be in your own time, the biggest, longest breath you have taken all day. Inhaling. Exhaling. Excellent, well done. Okay, so bringing your feet straight out in front of you, having a little bit of a gap between the feet. Start by bending all the toes over and then stretching the toes towards your nose. Bend all the toes over, so trying to keep the feet still, just moving the toes, and then stretch the toes up towards your nose. Bend all the toes over, stretch up towards your nose. Then a little bit more difficult, bend all the toes over and just raise your big toe. Takes a bit of thought, that one. And then raise all the toes and then just try and bend your big toe in the other direction. I find that even harder. So bend all the toes over, raise the big toe. Then raise all the toes up and try and press the big toe away from you. Excellent. Then let the feet relax, roll them out to the sides, into the middle. Out to the sides, into the middle. Out to the sides, into the middle. Point the toes, flex the feet. Point the toes, flex the feet. Point the toes, flex the feet. Then bring your left leg in towards you and hold it around the back of the thigh. Stretching the toe up to the ceiling, bringing it back down, up to the ceiling, bring it down, up to the ceiling, bring it down. Then hold the knee and your foot and just give it a little rock from side to side, getting into the hip. And then place the foot on the thigh. So the top of your foot is on the thigh and just gently press down on the knee. Your foot might be lower down, that's absolutely fine, wherever fits your practice. Then stretch that foot out long again. Bring the right leg in, hold around the back of the thigh, stretch the toe up, tap the toe down, stretch it up, tap it down, stretch it up, tap it down. Then holding the foot and the knee, give it a little rock. Then placing the foot somewhere on the other leg, just gently pressing down through the knee. Good stuff. Then take both feet out in front of you. Really make sure that you're grounded, so really make sure that you can feel your sit bones on the floor. Flex the feet so that the legs are nice and engaged and the muscles are strong. Then reach your hands straight out in front of you. Take a nice big inhale, and on the exhale, lean forward from the hips, keeping the back as straight as you can. And then bring the hands down to wherever they touch, somewhere on the shins, maybe your feet. Take a nice big inhale again, and see if you can use your hands to pull yourself slightly further forwards. And then let the head hang. Take 3 deep breaths in this pose. On each exhale, seeing if you can relax into it a little further. Then on your end of your third breath, use your hands to walk back up the legs and bring your left leg in with you. So placing the left foot on the inside of the leg somewhere. It could be the calf, it could be the knee, it could be higher up the leg. What's most important is to keep both sit bones on the floor so you're still nice and grounded. And we'll do the same thing, but with one leg bent. So inhale the arms up. Exhale as you lean forward from the waist and then allow your hands to come down wherever they land. Take a nice big inhale here. Then on the exhale, see if you can pull yourself into the pose a little further. Then relax the head down. Your head should be aiming towards your knee. And take 3 deep breaths here. Then once you've done those 3 deep breaths, use the hands to walk back up. Take the bent leg out straight and then bring the other leg in. So again, place the sole of the foot somewhere on the inside of the leg where it feels comfortable for you. Inhale the arms up in front. Exhale, lean forward from the hips. Make sure that long leg is engaged. Let the hands come down wherever they land. Take a nice big inhale and then exhale, see if you can go a bit deeper. Then let the head relax so the forehead is going towards the knee. 3 deep breaths here. With each exhale, trying to relax into the pose. Noticing which side is tighter than the other. Then once your 3 breaths are finished, lift the head, walk yourself back up to seated and bring both legs in. So you want about 2 palms distance between your pelvis and your heels. So we're bringing the soles of the feet together, about 2 hands in between the heels and the pelvis so that the knees are nice and relaxed. Really sit up straight out of your pelvis, and then really make sure that your sit bones are grounded down again. Take a nice big inhale, really sit up tall. Then as you exhale, curl over the legs, really arching through the back to start with. So really getting your curl on, so you've got a big stretch. And then the final thing as we move forward from our hips. The hands can either rest on the feet, or if you are super bendy and this is in your practice, you can thread your arms underneath your legs. And it's not in my practice, but some people can even touch their head on their feet. Nice big inhales here, and on every exhale, see if you can relax into the pose. So 3 deep breaths. And then wherever you are, rolling up, starting with the base of the spine, rolling up through the middle back, rolling up through the upper back, with the head coming up last. And then shuffle yourself around so that you're on the middle of your mat. Take your feet down towards the bottom of the mat and roll down onto your back. Take the left foot straight up towards the ceiling and cross it over the left leg. The right leg. You know, the left leg's bent. Then take the other foot straight up towards the ceiling. We'll thread our hands through the gap in between our legs and on the outside of the right leg. Hold behind the back of the thigh and then relax the head and the shoulders back down to the ceiling. And then play around with this a little bit. Maybe point the toes of the long leg, maybe flex the foot, see which gives you more stretch. Maybe point and flex the toes of the bent leg and see how that affects the stretch. Maybe press the bent leg out with the left elbow if you need the stretch more into your glute. And maybe flow from side to side, a little bit like water, having a little bit of movement in the posture rather than being completely static. Again, on each inhale, take the breath deep into the body. And on each exhale, see if you can go a little bit deeper. Then gently release the hands, bring the foot back down to the floor, uncross the legs, take the right leg up to the ceiling, and then cross the right leg over the left. Lift up the left foot and stretch it up towards the sky, and then lift up your shoulders and reach your hand through the gap and around the back of the thigh. Again, play with the feet, flexing the toes, pointing the toes, flexing the foot. See which gives you the biggest stretch. Do it on both the straight leg and the bent leg. Maybe push the bent knee out with the right elbow. Maybe have a rock from side to side, having a bit of movement and fluidity in the pose. See what works best for your practice this evening. Then release the hands, take the foot down, uncross the legs, and then hug the knees in towards the chest. Right hand on right knee, left hand on left knee, and just circle through the hips. Giving your little lower back a little bit of a massage. And then take those circles in the other direction. Excellent. Okay, I'm going to turn around sideways on my mat for this one to show you, because it's easier to show in that direction. And depending what space you have around your mat, you might find it easier to turn sideways as well. Arms straight out from your shoulders and legs straight up to the ceiling. Get your back comfortable on the mat so that the tailbone is tucked under, and then open the legs into straddle. Take a nice big inhale, and then keeping the legs engaged and as far apart as you can manage, roll over towards the left. And once that leg hits the ground, bring the other one to meet it and try and reach the heel further than the bottom leg. Then open the legs again. And when you can't open them anymore, allow the bottom leg to come up off the floor and roll to the other side. And then when you can't do that anymore, bring the other leg to meet it and then stretch that foot past the bottom leg. Open the legs again as wide as you can, rolling back into the center and then exhaling over to the other side. When your leg reaches the floor, then bring the top leg down and try and stretch it past the leg on the ground. Open the legs again, really reaching and then rolling over to the other side. Once the leg grounds, bring the top leg down and try and reach the toes past the heel of the bottom foot. Inhale, really open those legs. Keep them as far apart as you possibly can as you roll to the other side. When the leg touches down, then bring the top leg down to meet it and stretch the toes past the heel. Inhaling back through center, really stretching those legs apart from one another. And then this is the last side. So once the leg drops down, reach the top leg down, toes past the heel of the bottom leg. And then inhale back up through center again. Hug the knees in, both knees together this time, and circle through the knees, through the hips. And then take them in the other direction. Then reposition yourself on your mat so that we come up to the top of the mat. A bit of time to get some flow on. So feet can be hip width all together, whatever you feel more comfortable with. Inhale the arms up above the head. And then exhale, bend the knees, fold forward so the belly is coming onto the thighs. Inhale, halfway lift, long back, long neck. Exhale, fold forward. Step back with the left leg, step back with the right leg. Bring the knees to the ground, then bring the chest and the chin to the ground. Roll forwards into cobra, untucking the toes. Exhale, come back down, tuck the toes, take the hips back towards the heels for a split second in child's pose before pushing up into downward dog. And have a bit of a walk and a wiggle and a jiggle in your dog. So bringing one heel down to the ground, bringing the other heel down to the ground. Really stretching out down through the backs of the calves and the backs of the legs. Maybe stretch your chest towards your thighs, trying to wrap the shoulders around. Maybe bring the elbows to the floor. Move wherever you feel you need to move this evening. Then look forward towards the hands and tiptoe the feet all the way back to the top of the mat. Bend the knees a lot. On your next inhale, stretch into a halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, bend the knees a lot, roll all the way up to the top. Exhale, hands back to heart center. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold forwards. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Either step back to plank or take a little hop, landing as light as a cat. Then bring your knees, your chest and your chin to the floor or take the weight forward, keep the elbows in and come down to chaturanga. Gently bringing the chest forward into cobra or up dog. If you're in up dog, engage the core, engage the legs so the knees pop off the floor. Exhale back down, tuck the toes. Take the hips back towards the heels and come up into downward facing dog. Again, have a little step through the feet. And then I'll give you options here. So if you want to work on the hips, Then inhale the left leg up behind you, bring it forwards and sit in pigeon. If you want to work on firing up the core, then instead of sitting in pigeon, we'll do some down dog rolls. So if you want to work on the core, inhale the leg up behind you, exhale to the left elbow. Inhale up behind you, exhale to the nose. Inhale up behind you, exhale, opposite elbow. Inhale up behind you, exhale to the left elbow. Inhale up behind you, exhale to the knee. Inhale up, exhale, opposite elbow. Inhale back up to downward dog, pop the foot down. If you're in pigeon, lift the hips up and come back to your downward facing dog. Then either walk or look forward, big bend to the knees, and take a little hop to the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Bend the knees a lot. Inhale all the way to the top. Exhale, hands back to heart center. Excellent. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Step or jump back to plank. And then knees, chest, chin, or down to chaturanga, into your cobra, stretching the chest forward, or into your upward facing dog, core engaged, legs engaged. Exhale, come back down, tuck the toes, take the hips back towards the heels. Remember, you can always rest in child's pose if you need to, and then take the hips up into downward dog. So right leg this time. If you want to work on your hips, then reach your right leg up behind you and come down into pigeon. If you'd like to fire up your core, inhale up through the right leg, exhale to the same elbow. Inhale up, exhale knee to nose. Inhale up, exhale opposite elbow. Inhale up, exhale same elbow. Inhale up, knee to nose. Inhale up, exhale, opposite elbow. Inhale up and put the foot down, stay in downward dog. If you're in pigeon, tuck the back toes under, lift up the hips and come back to downward facing dog. Then everybody look forwards, bend the knees and either step or jump to the top of your mats. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Bend the knees a lot. Inhale, all the way up to the top. Exhale, hands back to heart center. Inhale your arms up. Exhale, fold forwards. Really feeling the ground underneath the feet. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Step back with the left foot. Maybe wiggle your front foot forwards if you need to. Knee should always be above your ankle. The back foot, you can either stay on your toes or you can drop the back heel. But do what works best for your anatomy. If you feel any tweaks in the knee, then stay on the toes. Really pull the core in and come up into crescent lunge or warrior one. Take a nice deep inhale here. On the exhale, spin on the back foot and open up to warrior two. We go the other way so I can see you all. So nice big bend in the front knee, really stretching out through those fingertips. Torso should be directly above your hips and equal pressure through both feet. Take a nice big inhale here, looking at the front hand, flip the palm, and then exhale as you go back into reverse warrior, looking up towards the ceiling. Inhale as you come forward, bringing that elbow to the knee and really stretching the top hand over, stretching through the fingers. Inhale as you go back up into reverse warrior. Looking up, stretching up. Exhale as you come forwards into side angle. If you want to use the core more, then make sure the hands aren't touching down. So as you inhale up into reverse, One hand goes behind your back, the other looks up to the ceiling. And then as you exhale, coming forward into side angle, one hand comes round in front of you, the other one reaches over. Inhale back up into warrior two. Really looking out over that front hand, really strong in the legs. Make sure you can see your toes in front of the front knee. Equal weight through both feet. On your next big inhale, windmill the arms around to frame the front foot as you swivel on the back toes and then step that front leg back. Bring the knees, the chest and the chin to the floor or come down through chaturanga and then into your cobra or your up dog. Take the hips straight up and over into downward facing dog. Couple of breaths here. Then looking forward, step or jump forwards. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Bend the knees a lot. Inhale all the way up to the top. And then exhale your hands back to heart center. Then we'll do the other side. So inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Bend the knees a lot. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Step back with the right leg this time, either on the balls of your feet or drop the heel, whatever's most comfortable for your knees. Keep the front knee above the ankle, pull the core in and inhale up into your crescent lunge to start with. Shoulders relax down the back, legs really strong. Then once you've got your balance, take a nice big inhale. On the exhale, spin on the back foot and open out to warrior two. Looking out over the front hand. Really make sure that your torso is above your hips, equal weight through both feet. Look towards the front hand, flip the palm, inhale up into reverse warrior. And then exhale, come forwards, really stretch that top arm over into side angle. Inhale as we come up and into reverse. And then exhale, come forward, really stretch that top arm over. Inhale as you come up, into reverse. And then exhale, come forward, really stretch that top arm over. Inhale, come up, into warrior two again. Looking out over that front palm, being really strong through the legs. Nice big inhale here. As you exhale, windmill the hands to frame the front foot and spin onto the toes of the back foot. Step the front foot back to plank. Then come down through knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. And then really pull the chest forward into cobra or up dog. Exhale, back down to the ground, tuck the toes, take the hips back towards the heels, and come up into downward facing dog. Looking forwards, bending the knees, do a step, a jump, or a hop to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Bend the knees a lot. Inhale, all the way up to the top. Exhale, hands back down to heart center. Good stuff. Okay, coming to the tops of your mats, toes facing the corner, sit down into your chair. So knees, your hips are going back. You should be able to see your toes in front of your knees. Take a nice big inhale, and then as you exhale, come into goddess in the middle. Take a nice big inhale in goddess. Then on the exhale, pull the core in and go to chair on the other end of your mat. Good. Inhale, really stand up straight. Core engaged, belly pulled in. Exhale. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, down into your chair. Inhale, take a nice wide step into goddess. Inhale to the other end. All the way up. Exhale, hands down to heart center. One more. Inhale, arms up. Sit down in your chair. Exhale into goddess. Inhale, come into chair the other end. Exhale, come up, hands to heart center. Inhale, arms up, sit down into your chair. Exhale, open into goddess. Come to the other end, inhale. Exhale, come up, hands to heart center. Good. Turn back around towards the front of the mat again. This time, take the feet as wide as your yoga mat with the feet pointing out. Coming down into Malasana, so coming down into a yogi squat. If you need to, have your hands on your knees and support your knees, that's absolutely fine. What I'd really like to work on here is the mobility in our ankles, our knees and our hips. If you can come down further, maybe bringing the fingers to the floor and the seat down a little bit further, fabulous. If you can come down all the way, equally fabulous. But work with where your knees and your ankles and your hips are at today. And just hold that pose for 3 breaths. Excellent. Wherever you're at, bring your hands to the floor and step back to plank. Put the knees down and sit back into child's pose. Couple of deep breaths here in child's pose, and you can have your knees together or your knees apart, whatever is most comfortable. And then once you've had a couple of breaths, last bit of stronger practice before we then move to some stuff laid on the ground. So we'll start with our elbows tricep width apart. Bring the hands in front of you and grip the hands. From here, step the feet back out into plank and take 3 deep breaths in plank. Really focus on drawing the heels away from you, tucking the tailbone under and really pushing away through the elbows and the shoulders so we don't have any droopy planks going on. Really engaging through the core, engaging through the shoulders. Good. Drop the knees. Come up onto your hands. Exactly the same thing. So I would advise having your hands slightly forward of your shoulders just to not work too hard on our wrists. Really pressing down through our fingers and the palms of the hands. You can keep your knees on the floor if you need to, if that's enough for you today. Just make sure you're engaging through the core and the shoulders. Otherwise, raise the knees up and 3 deep breaths here. Really stretching the heels towards the ground, pushing the ground away with the shoulders, really pulling the core in, tucking the tailbone under, so everything is engaged. Then dropping the knees, taking the hips back towards the heels, just having a moment in child's pose. Then once you've had a couple of breaths, come up onto your hands and knees. And then step your hands forward and bring the hips down to the mat and come into Sphinx. So the elbows sit underneath the shoulders on this one. Your hands are straight out in front of your forearms, the fingers nice and spread. And the legs should be completely relaxed, so no tension in the legs. Maybe squeeze them and release them just to ensure they're really, really relaxed. Then think about moving your chest forward between your upper arms so that you can feel a stretch down the front of the belly. Your head can either be up or you can rest it down, whatever's more comfortable for you, as long as you can feel that stretch down the front body. Nice big inhale here. Maybe try tucking the tailbone under and see what that does to the stretch. Maybe giving you some space in your lower back. Maybe try and release the shoulders away from the ears and take the shoulder blades behind the back, squeezing them together. And then stretch the chest forward again. Really opening up the heart and the chest in this pose. Nice big inhale here. And then exhale all the way down to the mat. Place the hands underneath the shoulders and press up through the shoulders and bring the hips back onto your heels again. So we're going to do rabbit pose next. So with rabbit pose, you want to reach down towards your feet. So if you imagine you're going to put your hands in your back pockets of your jeans, taking the thumbs to the outside, we're reaching down towards our feet. Some of you might be able to reach towards your feet straight away, but my arms aren't long enough in comparison to my torso, so I have to grab them all the way down. And then rolling the head first. So we roll the head down, we arch through the top of the spine, and then we roll and we roll and we roll and we roll and we roll, grabbing the feet when you can, until your head gets somewhere close to your knees and your top of your head grounds down. Then you can start lifting your hips, really getting a full stretch down the whole spine. Breathing is a little bit restricted in this pose, particularly working on the throat. So 3 breaths here. Squeezing the ankles towards one another, squeeze the heels towards one another, pulling on the feet with your hands, stretching the back up towards the ceiling. And then gently pull on your feet to bring your hips back down towards your heels. And then gently roll the back bone by bone by bone, all the way back up to the top. Well done. That's a difficult one, that pose. So seeing as you did a difficult pose, you now get to enjoy a lovely pose. So swinging your feet back around towards the bottom of your mat. And really roll yourself back down, arms straight out from the shoulders. Windscreen wiper the legs. Just taking one knee into the middle, then taking the other knee into the middle. It's a really good pose for the lower back, just stretching out any tension we might be holding down there. And then from windscreen wipers, bring the feet parallel to one another with the toes pointing towards the top of your mat, arms down by your sides, and then gradually peel your spine up off the floor into bridge. So bone by bone, you go up. When you get to the top, really squeeze the glutes together, really squeeze the inner thighs towards one another. Maybe raise up through the chest a little bit more, maybe raise up through the back a little bit more. 2 breaths here. Then take a big inhale. And on the exhale, very, very slowly, bone by bone, roll the spine back down onto the mat. Another one of these. So inhale, raising up the tailbone, and then the back, bone by bone by bone. Really pressing down through the feet, squeeze the glutes, squeeze the inner thighs towards one another, maybe lift up a little bit higher. Stay here if you're comfortable. If it's in your practice and you want to do the bind, roll the shoulders under, bring the hands together and push up even higher. 2 breaths here. If you're in the bind, let that bind go. Unroll the shoulders. And then in your next exhale, roll the spine back down to the mat, bone by bone by bone by bone. Nice and gently. Good. The next pose. You can either do bridge again, or if it's in your practice and you want to do shoulder stand, we'll do shoulder stand. So moving yourself a bit closer to the bottom of your mat. If you're doing rabbit, then start that journey again as you inhale by lifting the spine up bone by bone by bone. If you're doing shoulder stand, bring the hands down onto the floor to start with, hug the knees in towards the chest, and then do a little rock up and support the lower back with your hands. Try to squeeze the elbows together as much as you can, keeping the head and the neck perfectly still. Then from your bent position, with your knees tucked in, slowly, with control, pull the tummy in, take the feet up towards the ceiling. Really engage through the legs, engage through the core, squeeze the glutes together, point the toes so everything is tight. Either stay here, have a few breaths, or take the feet down over the top of the head. Again, using that tummy muscles to really do it with control, touching the toes down, coming into plow pose. Whichever posture you've chosen, knowing that you're doing something good for your body this evening. 2 deep breaths here. If you're in plow pose, gently bring your hands over the tops of your legs, and on your exhale, slowly roll the spine back down to the mat. If you're in bridge pose, again, same thing. On your next exhale, gradually roll the spine down to the mat. If you're in shoulder stand, first things first, bring the knees towards the forehead, straighten out the legs, and then gradually roll the spine back down onto the mat. Good. Come back up to seated. We've just got a couple more bits before coming into final Savasana. So the last one here is boat pose. So arms out in front of you if you can. If you know that this hurts your lower back, then bring your hands behind you onto the floor. Doesn't matter whether your fingers are pointing out to the sides or towards you or away from you, whatever's most comfortable. And then coming up into our boat balance. So either support yourself or bring your hands here, but we'll really pull in through the core. So if you feel yourself, if you're lunging or collapsing in the spine, then put the hands down. And then really pull in through the core and do a few little pulses, knees coming towards the shoulders. Exhaling out on the pulse in. Excellent. Cross the legs, fold forward, and just rest over the legs. Then gently roll the spine back up again. Bring the feet to the mat, knees together. Round 2, either arms out or put your hands down behind you. 10 little pulses. Excellent. Then cross your legs the way that they feel uncomfortable, because it's not your normal way of crossing them. And then fold forward and have a little rest. And gradually push yourself back up to seated. Bring the feet back out in front of you. Hands out and very slowly lower yourself all the way back down to the mat. When it gets hard, go a little bit slower. Really use those core muscles and then come all the way down. Arms down by your sides. Stretch the feet out long. Taking the arms up above the head. Shift the shoulders and the arms to the left slightly. Shift the feet to the left slightly, so you're in the shape of a banana. Really concentrate the right hip down onto the mat so that you're staying flat on the mat. And then really sending the breath into the right ribs. Any injuries or tightness in the shoulders, you can always bring your hands down. Good. Then shuffle your feet back to center. Shuffle your shoulders and your head back to center. And then shuffle your head and your shoulders over to the right and shuffle your feet over to the right. This time really concentrating on keeping the left hip down on the mat and really breathing deeply into the left ribs. And gently shuffle your head and your shoulders back to center. Shuffle your feet back to center and bring your arms straight out to the sides in a letter T. Take the right foot up towards the ceiling. So the left leg is out long, the right foot is up. And then bring the right foot on top of the thigh or the knee, whatever is most comfortable for you. And then roll the knee over towards the left. So we're coming into a twist, but try and keep the shoulders grounded on the mat. So it's not important how far you twist. Just use the weight of the leg to really enhance the twist through the mid-back. Looking out over the right shoulder. Nice big inhale here. Exhale, try and relax and release everything into the mat, making the shoulders really heavy. Really big inhale deep into the body. And then exhale, relax and release everything onto the mat. Inhale, really deep into the body. And then exhale, relax and release everything onto the mat. Bringing the head back to center. Roll the hips back down onto the mat and stretch the right leg out long. Take the left leg up towards the ceiling, bend at the knee and bring the foot onto the knee or the thigh or somewhere that's comfortable on the leg. Take a nice big inhale and then roll the knee over towards the right, keeping the shoulders grounded. Again, it doesn't matter how far that knee comes. It's more about getting the twist in the mid-back. Look out over the left shoulder. And take 3 really deep breaths into the body. And on each exhale, really relax and feel the shoulders grounded into the mat, really heavy. Bring the head back to center. Roll the hips back onto the mat and take the leg out long. Bring the arms down by the sides for final Savasana. Any pain or issues in the lower back, bring the feet to the floor and allow the knees to roll in so the lower back is completely supported. If you're working on things in the hips, then bring the soles of your feet together and let the knees fall out to the sides. Otherwise, take the legs out long, feet fall open, completely relax on your mat, allowing the body to be still, allowing the breath to slow, allowing the thoughts to slow. Palms facing up, tuck the shoulders under the torso so you're completely comfortable. and enjoy the weight of your body on the mat, completely relaxed. Then take your awareness to the dark space in front of your closed eyelids and imagine the colour red. All shades of red. Feel grounded. Then see that colour transforming into yellow. All the different beautiful shades of yellow. Imagining heat and fire. Then allow that colour to transform into orange. All the wonderful shades of orange. And allow there to be movement in your orange, fluidity of the colour. Then allow that colour to transform into green. All the wonderful shades of green. Grass, leaves, flowers. And allow yourself to feel the temperature of the air on your skin. Then take that colour and allow it to transform into blue. Colour of the sky, colour of the ocean. And imagine all those sounds that you would hear around things that are blue. Then our blue will transform into indigo, the mysterious colour of very few things. Dark sky at night. The colour of vision. And then finally take that colour and allow it to transform into violet. The colours of our thoughts. Then see those colours one more time. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. Then finally imagining a colour of your choice, your favourite colour, or a colour that makes you feel calm and peaceful. Then very gently bring your awareness back to your body, noticing the sounds you can hear around you, noticing sounds in the middle distance, and then taking the awareness wider and noticing sounds in the far distance. Maybe wiggling your fingers or your toes, maybe circling through the wrists or the ankles. And then move your body in whichever way it craves. If you want to stretch, stretch. If you want to hug the knees in, hug the knees in. If you feel like you want to twist, then twist. And then once you've made your movements, roll over onto your side and come back up to seated. And we'll finish with 3 deep breaths. The longest, deepest breaths you've done all day. Inhaling as we bring the arms up in front of us. Then exhaling. Inhaling up in front. And exhaling. Inhale. Thank you for making the effort to practice with me this evening. I hope you enjoyed it.